All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to look beyond just your basic firewall rules. We're not just asking who gets in the door. We're going to ask, what are they bringing with them? It's time to look past the guest list and actually start inspecting the packages.
So, your security policy is probably doing a great job letting the right traffic in and out. But that brings up a really important question. Just because you've allowed a conversation to happen, how do you really know that the conversation itself is safe?
Here's the best way to think about it. Your security policy, that's the main gatekeeper. It's checking IDs, the source, the destination, the port, and it's deciding who can talk to whom. But once that traffic gets waved through, it has to hit a second stop. That's your security profile. This is the inspection team that opens up the package and asks, okay, but what are you actually saying in this conversation?
So let's move beyond that simple gatekeeper, because true, meaningful security, it happens when you start looking deeper.
A security profile is exactly that. It's this extra layer of inspection that only kicks in after a security rule has already given the green light. That's why we call it post-allow protection. See, it's not about blocking the connection. It's about digging into the actual content, the application data that's flowing through it. So, what does this inspection actually look like? Well, a security profile isn't just one thing. It's more like an elite team of up to 8 different specialists, and each one has a very specific job. Let's meet the crew. First up, we have the antivirus expert. This is your classic defender, right? It's using this huge library of known malware signatures to scan files for viruses, worms, and trojans, and it just blocks them on site. Simple and effective. But what if a threat is already inside your network? Well, that's where the anti-spyware detective comes in. This specialist basically assumes a computer might already be compromised, and it listens for that machine trying to phone home to its attacker, what we call command and control traffic, and it just cuts the line. Then you've got your vulnerability protection engineer. Now, this specialist is different. It's not looking for a specific virus file. No, it's looking for the techniques that attackers use to break in, things like buffer overflows or SQL injections, and it blocks those behaviors.
Now, here's the specialist we can all relate to, the URL filtering guard. Think of this as the digital bouncer for your company's internet access. It decides which websites are okay to visit based on their category. So it can block things like gambling or social media sites while making sure business and news sites get through.
And say hello to the file blocking officer. This specialist is like a super strict customs agent. It doesn't really care what's in the file, just what kind of file it is. So if you want to stop anyone from downloading risky executable files or maybe torrents, this is the specialist you call.
But what about the really new stuff? The brand new threats that no one's ever seen before? For that, you have the wildfire forensics analyst. When this specialist sees a totally unknown file, it sends a copy up to a cloud sandbox to be detonated and analyzed. This is how you catch those sneaky zero-day threats.
Okay, this next specialist is absolutely crucial for things like compliance. It's the data filtering agent, or what you might know as data loss prevention, DLP. Its entire mission is to scan outbound traffic to stop sensitive info, like credit card numbers or social security numbers, from ever leaving your network. And finally, we have the DNS Security Sentinel. This specialist is all about being proactive. It uses a constantly updated, intelligent list of malicious domains. If a user tries to go to one of them, it blocks the connection before it can even start. It stops the threat at the earliest possible moment.
So, you've met the team, 8 incredibly skilled specialists. But you wouldn't send them out on a job one by one, right? No, you need to assemble them into a single, powerful unit.
And that's exactly what a security profile group is for. You take all the individual profiles you've set up, your antivirus rules, your URL filtering, your wildfire analysis, and you bundle them together into one powerhouse inspection team that you can deploy all at once. It's way more efficient.
Okay, so you have your elite team ready to go. How do you actually put them on duty? Well, it's actually a really straightforward 4-step process.
The process is pretty simple. First, you set up each individual specialist, configure their rules. Then, you assemble that team into a single profile group. After that, you just assign that whole group to an allow rule on your firewall, basically telling them which gate to watch. And that's it. They immediately get to work, inspecting all the traffic that passes through.
Now that you know how this all works, let's wrap things up with a few golden rules, some pro tips to make sure your security checkpoint is running at absolute peak performance.
First, a checkpoint is pretty useless on a closed gate, so you always apply your profile groups to your allow rules. Second, you don't have to start from scratch. Palo Alto gives you some great best practice templates to start with. And third, be strategic. You might not need this level of deep inspection on traffic that's just moving between trusted internal servers. But all these tips, they all lead up to one single, absolutely critical golden rule.
And here it is, the single most important rule of all. You cannot inspect what you cannot see. Think about it. So much of today's traffic is encrypted with SSL or TLS. Without SSL decryption, your entire elite inspection team is effectively working blindfolded. You have to enable decryption to give them the visibility they need to do their jobs.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. If your inspection team is blindfolded, what hidden threats are slipping right through your gates right now?